Welcome. This is Grammy Queen. If you are joining us for the first time, it's the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. Okay, we have been rolling with number 10. Number 10, we've touched upon heaven and Peter on where Christ said, "Upon you I will build my rock." We have also seen that 10 symbolizes, or it's on the same numerical value as hell, Satan, man. It's just that number that seemed to present itself just as it is, and actually is 10. So when we say something is, it's just is, we are talking about 10. 10 is that perfect number. When we do the numerical value for the word perfect, that equals 10. I think it's 37, 3 plus 7. Okay, so I also worked on the numerical values for the word lamb, and I did a presentation or couple type of presentations on Taurus, the bull, and Aries, the lamb. And it looks like, of course, I'm feeling an inclination to readdress this because, of course, there was the ram, the word ram, RAM, and, of course, there was the worshipping of calf, okay, the golden calf. So I had used, of course, the bull and the lamb, and I saw that there was a strong correlation in that they both had four letters, like bull was BULL, and we have lamb, LAMB, and there was very strong correlation in that there was a B, the bull with the B at the start, and the lamb with the B at the end. And I thought that really was not any coincidence. And then we have the L at the end of the bull and at the start of the lamb. So we can see that there had been structures put in place to help us, or I don't know whether it's help or hinder or whatever, but they were there. And I would like to believe that they are there in good sense and good spirit to help us understand who we are and make better sense of ourselves. It's just that perhaps we had not taken time to examine the structures away from how it had been presented to us directly. So it's really on our responsibility to further explore that which we have been given. It's, for instance, you are given a nice, wonderful dish, and it looks kind of strange, or maybe it looks familiar too, but there are certain taste buds or certain flavors that you are not familiar with, or you can't quite get your finger on it, or your taste bud to be more precise. And it's okay to say, well, what's in this? Because it tastes like lemon, but I'm not quite sure it's lemon because I have had lemon quite a few times and there seem to be a slight difference. It's okay to ask the question, and this is what has been presented here. So now I am revisiting this presentation, if you like, in the sense of course, I believe that that was pretty clear how we saw that the bull, one moment it was okay, that the bull was, Taurus the bull, it's the horns. And that's another thing we see, that horn, HORN, is very symbolic. That's another common factor between these two species here. They both have two horns, of course. Now, there was another, there's so much. I probably would have to do another presentation on this. The bull has its horns and probably going like an L or a C shape, for those I have seen. And the lamb, of course, would sometimes have their horns kind of curled going forward. That's another thing. So we are talking about motion or energy going that way, left and right, and with the bull, the other one is going forward and backward because it spirals that way. I've just got this idea. So basically, one goes this way, of course. That's the horn. Let's not a very good example here, but let's try. Okay, so we have the bull, its horn. If I can do a bull's horn, okay. Let's just say that that was a bull. Okay. Okay. So there's the bull. Okay. May not look like a bull. A bull cross pig cross teddy bear. Okay. But there's the bull. And the horns are going that way. Or you could also encounter a bull with its horns going that way. Okay. How? Let's do this. So, okay. So you could find a bull with its horns going that way. Then we have the ram. But the ram, how am I going to show you this? But I'll have to show you from the side. So the ram, its horns go. Okay. It can curl like forever and a day. So, okay, let's just see how we're going to do this. Okay. So, looks like a snail. Okay, but you get the idea. You get the idea. I'm not going to leave this on for too long. So we have basically the ram, the bull's horn goes to the sides, and the lamb would be going this way. In some cases, okay, but in specifically to the ram. Now that's the thing. So I am now looking at the ram. Now I've got to do this in like 5 minutes. So the ram, let's look at ram, RAM, which is 419. Now that equals 14. Now, if you have followed my presentations, I get excited about 14 because 14 is in direct correlation, direct position with Mother Eve. Mother Eve right here. This is where our eye get open. This is where we are able to be at a pinnacle position that we come in a newness. We are able to see ourselves as we are, number six, that we were created on the sixth day. We get to understand how everything is part of who we are because everything was created and we were on the sixth day, meaning all the elements and all the energies of what God, meaning number I, had created. It was part of our makeup because if you are born in a certain environment, you are automatically part of that which you were born in. So hence we were born in that new state. Of course, we forgot ourselves at some stage, and there we have Mother Eve to remind us. So when we get to that position, that's when we understand that we are, and it says new. What new is really that recognition because like Ecclesiastic says, there is nothing new. I think it was Ecclesiastic who said that in the book of Ecclesiastic of the Holy Bible. There is nothing new under the sun, but the mind that maketh it so. Something to that effect. Okay. So there we have that I with number 5. As we say, number 5 also denotes Christ. That's the Christ spirit. Remember, Christ also asked his disciples, well, who do they say I am? And some of them said, well, I think you are the Christ. You are the Spirit of Christ. It wasn't just looking at him and saying, you are Christ, but it's like Christ himself wanted, I believe, wanted to ensure that they had that perspective of him, or whether he was sure of who he was, but he wanted to ensure that it was also made known to the outside apart from him. Do they really see me as a teacher? Do they really see me as a physician? Do they really see me as the Christ that was spoken of many moons ago? So there he was getting an affirmation to saying that, and that was the affirmation that probably was essential to seeing himself in this new state as Christ. We also see that as 5. Now, moving on, this is the ram, which was the sacrificial element animal that was requested. There was the ram. The ram was the that was being sacrificed. Of course, with Abraham, in the days of Abraham, it was about the ram. Now, I did this, and when I done the presentations about the lamb, and my friend said, no, but it was a ram. And I said, well, a ram and a lamb, what's the difference? So, and of course, we came to understand, well, perhaps there is not much difference between them. One's got horns going this way and another going, but basically, it's as if the ram was the older, bigger mother of the lamb. The lamb, we know, is the young babe. And this is why I am saying a lot of things are happening today, which is like a template of what has been in the Bible, or what people had been practicing, not necessarily in the same way. And so we need to see where the polarities lie and where the correlation lies. So there it was a ram at one time, and now it got to the stage where it was a lamb. Hence, it had to be spotless, it had to be white, it had to be without blemish, and all of those things. Now we know that people are using the same principles in a very dark, negative way, although it may be a light thing that they are sacrificing, and meaning it's the aspect of innocence that is being the sacrificial lamb. Hence, that goes in direct correlation with Christ. Christ is, as far as we know, Jesus Christ was meant to be innocent. He was the ultimate lamb, who had not sinned, if you like, but came in a form as a man. So he was ultimate and sacrifice that would be sufficient for all of mankind. We could see that people have copied, because of course, even with the number 14, when we add 1 and 4 together, that equals 5. When we do the numerical value for Christ, CHRIST 2199, of course the 9's for new birth, 8 and 3, when we add these together, we get 32. I have done this already. So 10, 20, so that's 10, 20, yes, 31, 32. 3 plus 2 is 5. So this is the 5. We can see how it makes sense to understand that Jesus Christ came to die for our sins, that we would have redemption. But it's the number 5 we are talking about. It's that 5 vibration. 5 also, Christ also came from the generation of or lineage when we look at Matthew chapter 1, I believe, but Matthew is 9. Numerical value for Matthew is 9. He was the taxpayer. The first Bible, or in the first chapter or first book of the New Testament, and it's 9, which correlates with 5 here. And 9 and 5 is that which says in the beginning. 9 is I and N is 5. So there we see with Matthew. And this here, we speak of the Christ. So 5 here and 5 meaning of the Christ is really, here we have that 9 of Matthew is giving the story of Christ. He has that connection, direct connection with Christ. So there we understand the significance of the ram. So the ram still comes into that same direct correlation as Eve.